All right, what's going on, everybody? So today I will be doing my dual com for BioShock Infinite. I apologize for it being so late, but today I have with me a previous guest. I have Robin Gaming, a
What's
favorite
up,
in the
everybody?
yeah, a favorite in the Uncharted community to do this uh, to talk about my our impressions on BioShock Infinite. So thank you for joining me again.
Thank you.
All right, so first thing we're going to talk about, which is, I guess, debatedly, arguably the most impressive part of the game, which is the story, which kind of threw people for a loop because it sparked a lot of explanations and analysis and things like that. So, what was your general impressions of the story?
Yeah, I thought that it was pretty amazing, to be honest. I mean, there are some minor complaints I have with the story, but I mean, I don't think we need to spoil too much, because story is definitely the reason you will play this game, of course. But yeah, I mean, things like the ending. I mean, the ending was probably one of the best endings I've ever seen in a game, don't you think?
Yeah, and that's another problem. We can't there's very little we could say about the story without
Yeah,
actually spoiling it. So, but yeah,
yeah.
um, the story itself is really, you know, I'm really curious to know who wrote this, and how they came up with the idea for it because it has a lot of elements from other movies I've seen. They didn't copy it, but they made it unique to themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I mean, things like at the beginning, it was very clear that like Elizabeth was going to play such a big role in it, and I thought that just the way, kind of I mean, this is all about the beginning of the game, so it's not really spoilerish, but I mean, when Booker meets Elizabeth at the beginning, I mean, she's just like, okay, get me out of here, and then all of a sudden they're together, and they don't really introduce. Each other, that's kind of like the minor complaint I had with it. But like the whole way through is just one big, like, yeah, I mean, blockbuster movie type story that's just, yeah, really amazing. So yeah, I definitely think the story is the reason you play this game.
Yeah, it's really there's a lot. It's really shrouded in mystery and things like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, even though I don't think there was like a proper introduction of both of them. You see their relationship grow
Yeah.
throughout the story, and you actually get to know Booker pretty well. You know what went on with him, and you get a clear picture of who Elizabeth and Booker are. Definitely by the end of the story.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing though? I mean, did you like when you finished the game, did you immediately understand, how it exactly, yeah, what exactly happened? Like,
Yeah, so I actually did. Some people didn't, but I actually
okay,
understood because I don't want to say the movie because some people, would consider that spoiling it for them. If you saw this movie, then you would kind of know what the concept was of the game. But I saw that movie, and it was the game had very similar elements to that. So I'm like, okay, I get it. And
yeah,
there were a few things that I didn't understand. Like, okay, I get the story, but how did this work? And how did this work? So there was like one or two things involving, like, for example, the Luteces. I believe that's how you say their name.
hmm,
Like, I didn't understand them so much. There was a few questions I didn't understand about the Luteces, so I had to look them up. But I got an explanation. Like, for example, I didn't get a clear cut understanding of, okay, we know in this game there's a lot of alternate realities and alternate worlds and instances like that, and we know who has those powers. But in the alternate timeline with Comstock, I was wondering, okay, so how exactly did he go back in history? And we know that Lutece's built Columbia. So I'm like, but still, how did they go back in time? Which I figured out. You know,
yeah.
there's just a lot of intricacies and smaller details that you really have to understand to get the complete circumference of the story. Um, so did you have any other complaints or anything that you like just really that really stood out to you in the story?
No, not really. I think it was just a great story, and I loved playing through it. And I found myself really trying to beat battle after battle just so I could continue with the story to find out more of it. And then at the ending, I think, yeah, again, it's one of the best endings I've ever seen, and it's definitely satisfied me. So yeah, great story for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I said to me it really breathed a breath of fresh air in the FPS
Hmm.
genre, and it showed you that first person shooters can be so much more than what they have been. So from here, since we can't talk about the story too much without giving spoilers, but I definitely recommend you play this game just for the story alone. Let's move on to the gameplay. So this game has is a game with a few I would say RPG elements to it. You have your weapons and your powers for combat. Um, so the weapons are, I wouldn't say they are their own iterations of realistic guns. I would say. I think some of them were actually real guns. I think I can't remember the name of them, but I think they were either based on real guns. But nothing about the guns actually, extremely stood out. But the powers did. What do you think about like the weapons and the powers?
Yeah, well, as you said, like the weapons are kind of, yeah, just that it's only one iteration of every, like you have one shotgun, you have one sniper, you have
Hmm.
like one machine gun, stuff like that. Not really too many weapons. The powers, like it's kind of comparable, to be honest, with the first BioShock. And I mean, I wasn't really too, yeah, too impressed by the gameplay or something. It's pretty basic in my eyes. Like the figures, the special powers, like you can upgrade them a bit, but it's not really like, yeah, too well worked out. You have these skylines, of course, and in the trailers and stuff like that, they really made it up to be like a big part of the game. But I thought the skylines weren't really like that useful or something like that. Also, the way they had this huge E3 demo, I believe, and there was this huge area with the skyline like going over the whole area, and it was this big battle, and I was really waiting, for that to appear in the game, but it never, I never played that part of the game, and I went back and checked the trailer, and the battles weren't just that big; they weren't as big as they were made up to be in those trailers, and I saw people commenting that in the comment section as well. So that was kind of like what I was like. Yeah, what I was a bit disappointed by, but still, I mean, it's fun to play. But I just found myself really like, just trying to beat all the battles just in a really short amount of time, just so I could continue with the story and stuff like that. So yeah, gameplay definitely didn't impress me too much, but I thought it was fun. So
Yeah. Now they established that just because Ken Levine just because he thought it didn't fit in the game. He's the boss. He just wanted like he just went on a rampage and like what, take that out of the game. He took a few parts out.
yeah.
So yeah, the skyline. I actually thought that like the skyline was you should have been a huge unique feature for the game. It should have been that thing that outward element in the game, and it was pretty much a linear way of reaching another part of or yeah part of the game. When I thought it would be um, more of this thing that I feel like you would have spent more time on the skyline, and I wouldn't say in this game you spent more than what 20 minutes on the skyline maybe, and it's a 13 hour something like that around that game. And you barely spent any time around on the skyline. I thought it was going to be these huge moments, where you could travel around the whole world at any point you want, go anywhere you want, because the skyline connects you to every single point of the game. But it
Mhm.
didn't turn out to be like that. They were just it was a nice introduction to make the game feel a little bit different from other games. But I don't think they used up the skyline, effectively and efficiently as they should have.
Yeah, definitely. Like maybe one more thing is Elizabeth, who is going with you for almost the entire game. I thought that, I really she wasn't annoying in any way, and that's the big complaint with co-op games like these normally is that when you have like an AI person going with you, most of the time, she or he gets in your way, or it's really annoying. They glitch or something like that. They can't open a door because they have to. But for this game, I mean, I wasn't annoyed at all by Elizabeth, and she kept throwing health kits
Hmm.
at me and stuff like that. I must say that got a bit kind of like repetitive or something. That I was like rushing enemies, and I knew that she would throw health kits at me and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought Elizabeth was a great thing to introduce in the game. What did you think of that?
Yeah, like I honestly didn't even realize that until you pointed out to me that like yeah, most games where they attach an NPC or a type of AI to you, that they really become a nuisance. But she stayed out the way in just about all combat. She was only there to aid you, and she wasn't an annoyance in really any manner. And I didn't like I said, I didn't realize it until you really said it. But yeah, that was definitely great. I guess I didn't realize it because she wasn't an annoyance.
Yeah,
If she was an
exactly.
annoyance, I probably would have noticed.
Yeah, sure. And then I guess that's it for the gameplay. So maybe the final thing, the presentation of the game. Yeah, let's just start with you. What do you think of the graphics and the story and or I mean the vibe of the game?
Yeah. Now I love the art style of BioShock. I always have. Real quick. Did you have any problems with like the AI of the game? Did you find it sketchy at any moments?
Um, yeah, I don't really know. Like the enemy AI maybe was a bit, yeah, maybe a bit weak at times.
Yeah,
Why?
I found them pretty dumb occasionally.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it really wasn't the best. I would say, average, sometimes below average AI.
yeah,
But yeah, that was another problem I had with it. But the art style of BioShock was it's really unique. It's doesn't really try to be any other game. The world that they put you in, the BioShock Infinite world, Columbia is really, a magnificent design. And so many themes and things like that from history. It was I could tell there was a lot of history done and work put into making BioShock's visuals and world.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing like BioShock to me, or I mean BioShock Infinite, isn't like the perfect game to me just because of the gameplay that is pretty basic. And
Hmm.
but I mean stuff like the story and yeah, the presentation of the game, the world, that's just so unique and something we really don't see these days, and really is almost yeah for sure perfect. So that's the thing. Like I really encourage people to just buy this game because it's so unique and it's such kind of like a bold step in an industry today where you see first person shooter after first person shooter just in these generic worlds, as realistic as possible, trying to be yeah again realistic, not doing any of the stuff that BioShock does. And that's the thing, like I really encourage people to buy this just because it's so unique and we need more of this. Yeah, don't you agree with that?
Yeah, the game is really like a huge Easter egg. There's like clues and messages literally everywhere,
Yeah.
and that's how you just know they put so much work into making this world. Everything has a small little relevant message in it, um, and they just did an amazing job at that.
Yeah, for sure. So probably the final verdict, what do you think of BioShock Infinite?
Um, like I said, I think it's a must buy. If you don't play this game, you're definitely missing out. And I say it's a definite game of the year contender.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agreed. Not perfect in my eyes, but still an amazing game that everyone just needs to buy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, if that's it, want to thank you for joining me for another dual comp.
Thank you.
Not sure what the next game we will do is, but
We'll
I
see.
think we're moving into a dry season, except for the major game, The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Um, but we're definitely moving into a more dry season of gaming. So I know the fans and the you have a lot of fans and viewers that they definitely like to hear you and definitely like to see you feature on this. So definitely hit you up so we can do another one soon.
Cool.
All right, man. Thank you for joining me with this once again, and we're out of here. Peace, guys.
Bye.